All right, y'all. Mic check. 1 2 1 2. This feels great. Before I get there, welcome to another episode of Tuesday night's main event. What is this? Episode 9? Episode 10? Where we at, man? I think it's episode 9. But take those off. But this is my first recording in the brand new space. Um, the space is the space. Still got a few tweaks, still got a few little touches, still got a couple of things that I need to do down here. But the green screen is hooked up, the desk is put together, and the equipment has been put up because I knew Tuesday I had a pod to do, and also Thursday I got stuff to do. So here we are, man. Welcome. And we're just gonna get right to it, man. This has been quite the week, quite the couple of little weeks going on in the world of WWE. There's some things that took place in AEW and other promotions, but again, this is a WWE heavy show. So that's what we talk about here. No offense to any of those other promotions, but I am WWE. I watch WWE programming, so that is what I'm going to speak of or speak about. And eventually I will get to the other I'll get to AEW and NWA and TNA and all of the other promotions. But in the meantime, in between time, we are here WWE heavy. The Vince McMahon doc dropped last Tuesday or last Wednesday. I'm sorry, last Wednesday. It dropped on Netflix, 6 parts. Every part is about an hour each. Um, Let me start off by saying I thought that they did a pretty good job of it. Um, One, the fact that they have Vince is one plus. And then you have like really the who's who of WWE that's still alive or was willing to talk. You had Stone Cold, you had The Rock, you had Triple H, you had The Undertaker, you had Hulk Hogan, you had Eric Bischoff, you had Bruce Pritchard. And these are all people who've worked with Vince and been around Vince and can tell those stories. Um, I thought they did a really good job though. It really it wasn't the it wasn't quite the hit piece that they were throwing out there that they were trying to make it out to be. I didn't see it as a hit piece. I saw it as okay, we have you here. We're gonna let you tell your story. Even the note or even the post that Vince put up about it, I think he blew it out of proportion, except for maybe episode 6. Now I understand why he's upset about episode 6 because they really get to it. But the way it starts with him coming in, sit down and talking and saying, "Y'all don't really know me." And then everybody else around was like, "We really like people really don't know him like that, or people think they know him." And then they cut to him walking off. I mean, and I'm fast forwarding a little bit because y'all know the motto: "We here for a good time and not a long time." Um, he's getting out of the ring. I'm not sure if he was sitting down there and got that actual phone call. That I'm not gonna buy. Y'all not gonna get me to believe that. Y'all not gonna get me to buy that. So later for that. Um, but they get to it. They get to him uh meeting his dad later in life. They get to the one of my favorite things about this whole doc. If you listen to his story, it is the ultimate success story. He got into the business with his dad. he offered to buy the business from the dad, and his dad put an offer out there, or put a payment plan, if you will, out there, that if you miss a payment, I keep the company and I keep your money. That was a deal, and I believe, and I can't speak for his dad, Vincent J. McMahon, because he's no longer here. But looking at that and just listening to that story, I don't think they thought that he was going to make the payments. So he worked for that. He worked at that. He did what he had to do, and he bought his dad's company. And what did he do, as a lot of these visionaries? And he is a visionary. He had vision. He had everything. He disrupted the status quo. And I have no problem with that. He basically told them guys, hey, I can make you an offer, or I can just take your people and drive y'all out of business. Which he kind of did. He moved into territory, and Vince is like, all right, this is that, and this is that, and all right, this is your area, but I'm running a show here, and y'all not gonna kill me. I loved when he was just so cocky with it. Like, what fascination do these guys have with the bottom of the river, telling me that I'm going to be floating at the bottom of the river, yada, yada, yada. I thought that was absolutely hilarious. I laughed, and I laughed a lot when he said that. That was good stuff, man. I said, that's good stuff, man. Like, he didn't care. He went out and he went and got his. He went for his. He turned a territory, which everybody, even back then, WWF or WWF, was kind of like the big leagues. They were in the big city. They were in the Northeast, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Vermont, like the New England area, upstate New York, like that was their area. And that's like big city, big market, the big time. And his dad was looked at as the great promoter. He was like, hey, all right, I'm going to just take everybody's people. We going national. It's just going to be the all-stars. Which it basically was. He brought Hulk Hogan back from the AWA, and had this idea for Hulkamania. I mean, he didn't want to go with Bruno, or he didn't want to go with Bob Backlund, who was the champion at the time. And even back then, he was like, all right, I can't do a babyface versus babyface match. And it makes me wonder, what if he would have done that? Even back then in 1984. Because that's kind of like the norm now. You get a babyface versus babyface match, or heel versus heel match. I don't think he did a babyface versus babyface match until WrestleMania 6 with Hogan and Ultimate Warrior. Honestly. Just him working to get WrestleMania happening, and he made it happen. He made it happen, and it continued. I just recommend everybody watch this, because he covers just about everything buying the company from his dad. His takeover of professional wrestling, or sports entertainment, as he calls it. He hates the term professional wrestling. WrestleMania, and then let's get to. Let me see. Let me look at my notes. I got some notes here. I took a few notes. A lot of the controversial stuff, which I was dying to hear about. I mean, Hulkamania, we know about Hulkamania. They covered Rock and Wrestling, the War to Settle the Score, and the Brawl for It All. Not Wendy Richter, Cyndi Lauper and Captain Lou Albano, all of that good stuff. They covered that. They talked about the original screw job, or like the other screw job that took place in WWF, WWE at the time, which was Wendy Richter, who refused to do something. So Vince like, hey, I'm gonna take the title off of you. Or you don't want to drop the title, I'm gonna take the title off of you. And they go into the Montreal screw job, and Brett talks about that, and they talk about we've heard that. A lot of this was stuff that I knew about. I had heard stories about the original screw job. I just honestly I forgot about it. I heard the stories, and people were speaking of those stories, but it wasn't as popular as the Montreal screw job of 1997. The steroid trial they talked about. I mean, he beat the steroid. He beat it because he just beat it. He got into two stories that has been well avoided in wrestling circles outside of like the independent companies like Dark Side of the Ring did. Dark Side of the Ring covered both the Owen Hart and the Chris Benoit thing. The Owen Hart thing was interesting, especially like hearing from Brett and hearing how Brett said he blamed the company and Vince, and after the doctors called him and said, hey, it wasn't their fault. Like just listening Brett just kind of like let his guard down because he felt that they did that to his brother on purpose because of what he did, or because he left and he punched out Vince and a lot of that stuff. Um, the controversy of that pay-per-view over the edge was the fact that they kept going. And a lot of people felt like they should have stopped. If Brett said it, like if that was Shane splattered on that mat, you'd have stopped the show. And Vince comes back and says, hey, if that was me and that would have happened to me, I would have wanted the show to continue. Now, I call cap on that. But again, I won't call cap because Vince is Vince. It's funny how he says he doesn't like to talk about himself, or he doesn't like to talk. And you can kind of tell that he really doesn't like talking about himself or discussing himself, because his voice, like you can just tell by the sound of his voice. When he talks about other people, the voice changes a little bit. But yeah, that was one thing. Honestly, I think I've watched Over the Edge once, maybe twice. I don't remember seeing blood in the ring and it being Owen Hart's blood. That I don't remember. I can say that I don't remember and that I don't recall. But it was there, and that was disturbing to me. That was disturbing. Like, holy cow, that is his blood. They talked about the Chris Benoit thing. They got into concussions, and that's when Stone Cold made his remarks about CTE and him not believing in CTE, and saying that if guys got concussions, that means the person that you're working with didn't take care of you. That caused a little bit of waves, but not a lot. Um, they really, uh, they really got into it. The whole Benoit thing, and just to hear when he said Chris Benoit's name, I said, "Oh boy, he's going there." And boy, did he go there. What else did they cover in this thing? Um, the Monday Night Wars, the Attitude Era, ruthless aggression. A lot of that stuff I knew about. The fact that he will not own up to Eric Bischoff or he won't he won't own up to saying, "Hey, I just did what Eric Bischoff did. I just did it better." He's just saying, "I won the war." But they did kick WWE's butt for 83 weeks for the Monday Night Wars. Attitude was that time. Honestly, y'all know I have my reservations about the Attitude Era. It was great. It has some great stars, but me personally, I think the Ruthless Aggression era, the era that followed, is better to me. Um, he talked about some of the questionable storylines. There was a story he talked about getting Stephanie pregnant in storyline, which was like, God, I'm glad that one didn't get there. Um, the Trish Stratus barking like a dog. His kids getting in there talking, and Shane speaking about his dad. Everything Shane did was for his dad. He did it to appease his dad, which I think is kind of fly. He wanted to make his dad proud of him. And he left because he wanted to keep his relationship with his dad instead of that business. So he didn't care. And that kind of really worked in Stephanie's favor because Stephanie emerged as the one who was supposed to be the heir apparent, and Shane thought it was going to be him. With the whole WCW thing, I thought they should have after the invasion angle and all of that stuff. I thought they should have just kept them separate. They should have separated them because they ended up doing the brand extension anyway. So why not have your separate WCW shows? It doesn't have to be them on the same night. You could have had like Raw and SmackDown on Mondays and Thursdays or whatever. You could have done the WCW Tuesday Nitro and something on, or it doesn't or it could have been WWE on Mondays and WCW on Fridays. But who knows how you know. They talked about the latest allegations that are out against him and him leaving and him coming back. And I think he really came back just to sell the company and get this and bring this company into one, bring that and UFC into TKO. And just more stuff came out. They really stepped on that TKO deal by bringing out that last set of allegations, which caused him to ultimately step down. But overall, I recommend you guys watch this. I've watched it 1.5 times. I think I watched it full through, and then I'm on like the second or the third episode on the second time around because it's just that great. It's really a WWE history lesson with Vince in charge. It's kind of like, and when I first saw when they released this, I said, "Oh, I see what they're doing. They're closing the chapter on they're closing one chapter and opening another. Genius move, TKO, WWE." Um, moving on to some news before I get to my bad blood predictions. Um, where we at? SummerSlam is 2 nights now. In 2025, it'll be 2 nights. It's going to be in New York City. It's going to be at New Jersey in MetLife. It's going to be 2 nights, and I think that's going to be fire. They rolled it out with Bianca Belair and Cardi B with a commercial and a vignette. Royal Rumble tickets are on sale. I believe that is February the 2nd in Indianapolis. I might call gang and we might go. I think that's pretty much it, man. Y'all saw Raw, y'all saw SmackDown. That main event on Monday Night Raw last night was absolutely incredible. Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed tore the house down. I told y'all they was gonna break the ring, and then the return of Seth freaking Rollins. Welcome back, bro. We're gonna end the year off. We got Crown Jewel and we got Survivor Series. So Seth is gonna be prevalent in storylines coming up. Him and Bronson Reed are on the collision course. Now, let's get to Bad Blood. Bad Blood is going to take place this Saturday. It starts at 6 p.m. They're starting it early to avoid counter programming with UFC. TKO just is taking things over for this weekend. They got a UFC event Saturday as well as Bad Blood. Allstate Arena in Atlanta. It is hosted by Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, which I can't wait to see what they do there. Let's get to these matches, man, and then we're gonna get out of here. The WWE Women's Championship is on the line. Nia Jax takes on Bayley in a rematch from SummerSlam. This rivalry has continued since SummerSlam, where Nia defeated Bayley. Bayley's trying to get her get back, but Bayley had to work to get there. She had to help Naomi pin Nia in order for them to remain on on Monday Night Raw. And then she had to fight Naomi last Friday for the number one contender. Why didn't just do a triple threat? I don't know, but I love Nick Aldis for what he did. I'm going to give the win to Nia Jax. And I think Tiffy's going to at least tease another cash in, or she's going to cash in. It might be Tiffy time. We're going to get some surprises, and this might be one of them. I'm just going to say Nia wins and Tiffy teases the cash in, or she might cash in. Damian Priest versus Finn Balor. I'm going to go with Priest here. Priest needs this win. Finn and Judgment Day has looked strong enough to where they don't, like he can lose. I'm gonna go with Priest. The Women's World Championship. Liv Morgan takes on Rhea Ripley with Dominic Mysterio locked inside of a shark cage above the ring. This reminds me of the Jim Cornette that's what this reminds me of. It's quite amusing. Liv still retains. I got Liv winning. Big tag team match. Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes takes on Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. Who needs this win more? I think Cody and Roman do get the win. But I think we're going to get some returns and some debuts. And the main event, or maybe the main event, Hell in a Cell, CM Punk takes on Drew McIntyre inside of Hell in a Cell. I'm going to go with CM Punk. This is going to give CM Punk momentum going into Crown Jewel and going into Survivor Series and going into the Royal Rumble. So I got Punk winning. So to recap, I have Nia beating Bayley, but Tiffy cashing in. I got Priest over Finn Balor. I got Liv retaining her title over Rhea Ripley. I have Roman and Cody with the dub over Solo and Jacob. And I have CM Punk winning in Hell in a Cell. And I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you guys next Tuesday for another episode of Tuesday Night's Main Event. Also, make sure this Thursday, Pizzle's Picks at 7, Club Pizzle at 8. Y'all know what time it is. Deuces, ooses.